Hello and welcome to the first episode of the Rate Up podcast. My name is Zalimas, I'm your host, and I'm joined by my good friend Kedunkel.
That would be me.
How are you doing, Kedunkel?
I'm doing pretty well. How are you?
Not so bad. So, kind of going into it, for some of you this is going to be our first show. Some of you know about the Forbidden Lore, kind of the pre-show show. Yeah.
The past, I guess, is a better way to put it.
Yeah. So, I mean, we've tried this before, but we're going to try and up the production quality on this a little bit. But we still wanted to introduce ourselves. New name, new show. We're basically just try and redefine ourselves.
Rebrand, maybe.
Yeah. But also do a better job of presenting who we are in this. And so...
Yeah, I think we've gotten some more experience doing this with the past attempt.
Yes, definitely. I in a little bit we're going to kind of go into some of these things, but this experience has been really fun for both of us, and kind of learning how to talk about, or just learning how to talk in general has been really fun, and how to watch our language and just the way that we word things and making clear statements has been it's actually really enjoyable.
You would be surprised how much thought goes into speaking and whenever you want to sound a particular way.
I think the more surprising thing is how little thought normally goes into the speaking that we do. That's definitely something I noticed for me.
Yeah, but let's move on. And let's talk about, for starters, since this was one of the first things we did the previous time, let's ask why we're making this podcast. And for me, it's just because Zalimas approached me with the idea and it sounded fun, but he's got some more thorough reasons for this.
Yeah, and I think fun is definitely it should be the number one goal here, because it actually is really enjoyable just talking about games that you like, and that's kind of something, like, especially over the past year, right? Like, being able to talk to Kedunkel and like other communities about games that I really enjoy is something I've done way more, and it's grown my appreciation for the games and also invested me more, and has given me some semblance of communication with the outside world. So it's kept me sane in a lot of ways. But in terms of...
Yeah, I agree a lot on that. It's been hard to go outside, but hopefully that will get a little better either way. I think the important topic or introductory topic for a show about video games is to talk about what kind of games we like. And for that my taste is like pretty straightforward. I really like JRPGs. Though incidentally enough, I've never actually played a Final Fantasy game, but I have played nearly every other major franchise. I played Trails, Ys, Dragon Quest, Xenoblade. Just for whatever reason, not Final Fantasy.
Are you going to start with Final Fantasy? What is it? Strangers of Paradise, Final Fantasy Origins? Did you see that trailer?
I did not see it yet.
It's pretty bad. It looks like a mix between the Final Fantasy VII Remake combat, and then it's like this weird, edgy... the guy says he wants to kill Chaos like 7 times in a 1-minute trailer. It's so bad it's good. So you should definitely start with that, I think.
Oh, okay. I'm sure that'll define my experience.
Yeah. Definitely.
Well, I did actually play the Bravely games, which I'm told are in basically the copy-pasted Final Fantasy. I do like Pokemon games, even though it's kind of a meme at this point, but their quality has kind of gone down a little bit. I'm more into Pokemon TCG right now. But
what gen of Pokemon did you start with?
I started with Gen 5. I do have Platinum.
Hurts. That hurts so much. Yeah.
You're talking to someone who's I'm like 6 years younger than you.
I know, that's the crazy thing. That that's the part that makes it hurt so much, I think. So,
dude, I got Pokemon Black and White it came out when I was like, what, 11, 10? I'm not entirely certain. They were the first ones that I played. I do have, like I said a second ago, I do have Platinum that was given to me as a gift, but I haven't played it. And I'd like to get Heart Gold or Soul Silver, but now they're impossible to find considering the 3DS was discontinued. I do like Mario games. I think you can probably tell that most of my game taste is centered around Nintendo. My thoughts on the company itself are not that positive, but it's mainly just because I had parents who looked at the labels.
So growing up, were you you probably grew up with what, like a Wii U or
I grew
a Wii?
up with a Wii, a GameCube that got bricked by my younger sister.
It got bricked?
Yeah, I think she put food or something in it. I don't know. It just didn't start one day. Like ye old put a cookie in the GameCube. I don't know. I remember we traded it to GameStop for like $10 or something. They probably shook it and it turned on.
I thought you were going to say something like she was trying to mod it to run like Project M or something, but no, she just straight up put food in it.
Dude, okay. She's probably like 3 at the time. I don't know. I've had
the GameCube design did look like a lunchbox though.
Yeah, it was little super portable. They had the little strap. No, it was great. And I play stuff on Steam a little bit, not too much recently, but I like Terraria a lot. And there's like TF2, I played that a ton back a couple of years ago. And right now I'm actually really interested in Tetris. There's a website called Tetrio, and it's basically Tetris 99 but on a computer, and you can create private lobbies, and it's actually a lot of fun. Even though the people I play with, there's one dude who's incredibly good at it and kind of constantly demolishes us, but it's still fun. And what about you, Zalimas? What are you into right now?
Right now I'm getting my ass kicked in Guilty Gear by literally everyone. Yeah, it's kind of been a long time coming because I haven't really jumped into a fighting game. Even though I've always kind of wanted to, or not always, but for the past like 4 years, I've kind of had fighting games on my radar. I picked up like Street Fighter V, picked up Unist as well, but I never really dove into those games. But I did follow fighting game content creators, right? So like Corey Gaming, Sajam, Majin Obama. So I was like watching kind of the discourse around the games evolve, but I never actually played them myself. But with Strive coming out and like all the stuff about how it's simplified, so it's going to be easier to pick up, and it's just like a really nice looking game. It's very aesthetically pleasing, except for the lobby system, which is horrible.
Yeah, that sounds normal for a launch game.
Yeah, so it's really funny. The lobby system is this thing that it's this like Habbo Hotel looking like abomination that people have basically been complaining about since it was revealed back in, I think, 2020, like early 2020, talking back before the pandemic.
Oh no.
Yeah, and they just have not been able to fix this lobby system, and it not only does it look horrible, but it just doesn't work. And the thing is that if you want to do ranked, you have to go into the lobbies. So if you want to play people around the same skill level as you, you have to navigate through this horrible system. But like the rest of the package is actually really good. It's got all of the music from like the past games, and Kedunkel can tell you I send him Guilty Gear music a lot, because the soundtrack is really good. Like all of them, or a lot of the songs are really enjoyable. So you have access to all that, and so it's a really good package, and it felt like it was a good place for me to jump in.
Yeah. I heard Soul is like disgustingly strong right now.
Yeah, he's pretty busted. He is pretty busted. Him and Ramlethal are kind of like, it looks like the top tiers, but like I'm still at the point where like I'm just getting the mechanics down, right? Learning how to play the game, where tier lists aren't really a factor. Is at least what I tell myself. But
That sounds like opium.
Dude, also I'll switch characters if that's what I need to do to win. If like after 2 weeks people are like, this is the tier list, then I'll switch. I'm not above it, right? The game itself is what's fun for me. Not you can judge me all you want, but I'm gonna win. That's all.
I mean, if you tell me I can judge you, I'll do it. But
I'm super competitive. When like I try to play like free from attachment of like winning and losing and just getting better, but I need to win also is like part of it.
Are you into any other games right now, or just stuff in the past, I guess?
Yeah, I mean there's stuff like that. There's kind of in other big games that I've played, just whatever I'm playing with my friends. So back in like 2018, 2019, I guess Fortnite was kind of like the big thing. And that was a ton of fun. We played League of Legends when that was big, and then World of Warcraft. It's like the same group of friends, and we jump kind of whenever like a big kind of flagship title like that comes out, we all kind of jump into that. And those are I think some of my favorite gaming. And like the games themselves, Fortnite I was like never super into.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of battle royale style games.
Yeah, I definitely feel that. Like I picked up Apex last year, and the gunplay I loved, but I hate the battle royale system, and it encourages a lot of bad, like a lot of it. The game itself has really nice and tight gunplay and fun control, and like navigating the maps is fun, but the like third partying is just never fun.
I understand what you're saying.
So and like again, going back to the competitive nature that I have, like I just want to win the gunfight that I'm in, right? I just want to win the gunfight because I'm better than the other person. I don't like being like, okay, there's 3 teams left. We wait for the other 2 to start fighting, and then we pick them both off. Like that's not how I want to win, but I'm also not good enough to be able to do it the other way.
I can tell you're a lot more competitive than I am.
Yeah. Winning is, I love it. It gets me going. Kind of like the other big game is probably Magic the Gathering. I played a lot of that, especially like in college. And again, another one of those games where I was like, I played it a lot, but I was a lot more interested in kind of almost the theory behind it. So I was more reading, articles and deck building, watching like draft discussions.
Being amazed that a single card is worth more than a house. You shout out to Black Lotus.
That's a pretty cheap house. That's I mean
like $500,000. I mean, okay, yeah, true. Right now with house prices, but
right,
that's kind of a disparaging thought.
If the cards were printed on wood, then the price would be through the roof, right?
Oh, but, no.
Yeah, that's a little boomer humor for you. So don't worry, we can take that out in post. So.
Oh no, you can keep that.
Okay, we'll see then. But yeah, again, another one of those things where it's like the discussion around how you play the game was so interesting that I was kind of drawn into the game. And that's the same thing that happened with Fortnite, or not Fortnite, fighting games.
That's
there was no discussion around that in Fortnite. It's like, do I do default dance or do I do Orange Justice? So
that reminds me of my I guess descent into gacha hell. I don't know if I would call it that. And how I started getting into Discord communities through gacha, specifically Fire Emblem Heroes. Though I did play FGO before that. I've played a couple gacha, but right now I primarily only play E7. I do appreciate Faye for introducing me into the other gacha games and the friends I've made, but I don't think it's the same game that I enjoyed a couple years ago. But either way, what other gacha have you played, Zalimas?
So, I kind of started not most recently, but I started with FGO, with the NA server.
I did play FGO a bit.
Yeah, I played it for about a year or so. It's funny because I actually remember watching the direct for Fire Emblem Heroes when it was announced, like that February. It was like, I think 2 weeks before it came out, there was like a direct that went over how the game was played. And I purposely avoided that game because I was still mad at Nintendo for how bad Pokemon Go was.
No, Pokemon Go was kind of awful. I couldn't even play it because it overheated my phone so bad.
I just hated it. Like, I mean, I didn't hate it. I loved it, and I went hardcore with it for like
love-hate relationship.
Yeah, like, well, it was fun because my boss and some of the other guys I worked with at an escape room, we all kind of got into it, and so we would like go on rides after work, like wearing our work shirts and like just kind of casually talking to people and about it, and like we would say that we would tell the boss that we were doing like promotional stuff. So
Sure.
we stayed on the books, but we were actually just going around catching Pokemon. Well, it was cool. I mean, did you play like that first like 2 weeks or so? You would go out and you would like see people walking around. You'd be like, oh, that person's playing Pokemon Go. That person's playing Pokemon Go.
You'd be like, hey, look, there's like a Togekiss over there. I don't actually know if Togekiss was in launch, but it was.
No, it was the original 151. That's or 150, I guess. I don't know if Mew was available, and probably not Mewtwo either.
Yeah, I don't think any were. I don't know if any legendaries were available at launch. I think it was.
Oh, and I just want to say this because you mentioned earlier that you started with Gen 5. I started with Gen 1. So.
Oh gosh.
Yeah. So
quite the difference.
For Christmas in first grade, I got Pokemon Yellow, and I hated it because I couldn't beat Brock. Right? I was like, why? This is terrible. Who designed this game? And then it took me like a year and a half to realize you were supposed to catch a Mankey. So anyways, yeah, so that's, so I avoided Fire Emblem Heroes right out the gate because of my disappointment with Pokemon Go. Like slightly with Super Mario Run wasn't bad, but like the whole DRM.
It was their attempt. It was their like first attempt. You paid like $10 and you got access to the whole game.
Yeah, I didn't think it was a bad game. I just thought the whole DRM situation around it was really stupid.
I'm not familiar with that. What did they not let you play on emulator?
No, they wouldn't let you play offline.
Oh,
like
offline?
Even if you bought the game, yeah, you couldn't, like, if you weren't connected to the internet, you couldn't play it.
I didn't know this part.
Yeah, which makes no sense because it's not a multiplayer game.
True.
The reason they did that was because the quote unquote demo was the full game. So they were like worried about people downloading it and then like I guess hacking it or pirating it and getting the rest of the game for free. Just such a terrible.
Yeah, I mean, like
it's like the Nintendo. Yeah,
it's a peak Nintendo moment. Yeah,
it's just Nintendo things, right? So
yeah, the Nintendo is a little not ideal. I mean, I guess separate the art from the artist, but we'll move on. Yeah, I did play FGO for like a solid 2 months. I don't know. I remember logging in the day I quit, and I saw Gilgamesh was on banner, and I said, okay, I'll spend literally everything I have. If I get Gilgamesh, I continue playing. And you can probably guess I didn't get Gilgamesh.
Oh man, you hate to see it.
Yeah,
I think I'm gonna pick FGO back up here coming up pretty soon. Like I've jumped in and out of it. Shout outs to Specs Gastro, who has been my FGO buddy for a while, even though I totally abandoned the game.
Yeah, but I don't know about playing a game without a hard pity.
Well, I don't. The thing is I'm not really interested in any of the units. Like, I really just want to clear up the story and read
True.
it.
I heard this. Is the story in FGO actually good? I don't know. From what I played, I enjoyed it a little bit.
From what I've played, which is pretty much all of the first, I guess they're not called books. Like
I can't help you with this.
I can't remember, but I cleared basically up through I cleared all of Solomon, which is kind of the first arc, and then there's the it's like EOR. I can't remember what it stands for. Specs is probably mauling right now. He's so disappointed in me. But basically, there's like a chapter. There's like your chapter, which has 10 individual chapters in it. Then there was like kind of the
interlude.
Yeah, the interlude. For that, which was 4 separate chapters. I cleared the first one of that. The second one is terrible. It's Agartha. It's the worst thing I've ever read, and I hate it. And it's not fun to play either because it's like you actually have to manual some of the battles.
Oh gosh.
And by manual I mean like not just tap wildly at the screen because you have to manual everything in FGO.
You have to pay attention.
Yeah, you actually have to concentrate on some of them.
Yeah.
And so I've only cleared that, and they're already in like the second kind of big arc, which is the Lost Belts. But I've heard really good things about the Lost Belts. So in my experience, the first, I think, 4 chapters up through America were pretty garbage. I don't think the game was at all interesting until Camelot. Camelot was good. Babylon was good. No, Babylon was pretty good, but like the first half of it I thought sucked, and Solomon was a pretty interesting twist. Even though we kind of knew it was coming, but it was still enjoyable. Better than like anything. And man, I told Kedunkel, I was like, I want to move past Faye really quickly because I don't want to dump on it too much.
No, I made the mistake as well. No,
but it's better than anything in Faye. Yeah.
I mean, yeah, you can kind of tell Faye bad is a very strong sentiment within here.
It's only because we really like a lot of the we like the skeleton of Faye, but a lot of the meat on the bones just doesn't work right.
No, I really like Fire Emblem. Like, I don't have my 3DS with me right now, but I probably have over 400 hours in Awakening.
He showed me the spreadsheets.
Yeah, I have a spreadsheet. If anyone wants it, just ping me for the pairings I used in Awakening for a run that was gonna get to Apotheosis, and then Laurent died in Apotheosis by a crit. But yeah, from full HP, that was really fun. And then I was so tilted. I just closed the game and didn't bother with it. But I guess seeing how Faye has been handled is a little disheartening, I guess. But let's actually move past Faye. And
yeah. I mean, I think we're big fans of the game. There's a lot of kind of problems with the way it's set up. We will address those. I promise we will definitely come back to them a lot, but just trust us.
It's something we want to dedicate a proper episode to, but just for now, let's go over some other stuff we've done, because I've played a couple different gacha. I played DL, but I recently dropped it. And just for a variety of reasons. The main one was just school. I didn't have time for it.
And I played DL as well, but you were you stuck with it a lot longer than I did.
Yeah, I picked it up after the first anniversary, and then I stuck with it all the way till a little past when Lilith was released. I don't remember too much about what happened around whenever I was like kind of playing the game once a week, just because I was so busy with school and finals last semester. But and another thing I guess that I didn't enjoy was the nihility debuff. I guess it's the way that they want you to keep pulling, but I wasn't a fan of that, and then I just kind of took a critical look at it and realized I didn't want to invest the time to keep playing it. I did also, now this is changing gears pretty quick, but I did also play AK, or Arknights, and the main reason I dropped that was because at the time I was playing 3 other gacha, being E7, DL, or E7 is Epic 7 for those who don't know, and Faye, and I didn't want to have a fourth one. If there is a possibility, I mean, not if, I may look into picking it back up in the future. I'm not sure though, because obviously now I would have more time for it.
I'm super interested in picking up Arknights. I also, in our notes, I lumped Girls Frontline under this category because that's another game, and another game, a very similar aesthetic. I played Girls Frontline for about 2 months, I think. It was just like randomly. I don't know if any of you are familiar with the game, but I saw an image of DSR 50, which is a sniper rifle, and I was like, okay, I'm gonna play this game. And I told my friend, who is a huge like gun nerd, and I was like, hey, this game is about guns, but also they're anime girls. He was like, I'll try it out, and he had a lot of fun with it too. We both just kind of fell off at the same time, but it was actually really fun because he was really interested in the gun side, and I was really
and you were interested in the weeb side.
Yeah, for sure. It was also an interesting gacha because it was like the gacha in Girls Frontline is actually not it's a cosmetic gacha. Crafting, like getting units, is through you can like spend for units, but you really don't need to. So it, like, a free to play player can actually build up they can get almost every unit in the game except for like mist limiteds and stuff like that.
That sounds interesting.
Yeah, it is. It's like a hanger system. I think it's similar to Azur Lane, and going even before that, Cancol, which was kind of like the progenitor of the war objects as cute anime girls.
Cute girls.
Yeah.
The only thing I know about AL is that the devs are really, really good at making their player base lose. Like, they have it down.
You said this last time, and
no, they have it down to an art form.
I feel like you're being too harsh on this game.
No, it's like everything I see about that game is like, it makes me scared to like open my computer in public. Or
I definitely downloaded that game and tried it, and I was like, this is not fun. Yeah, dude, I don't care. So I tried it, and I didn't enjoy it though. The whole like move battle, like it was almost entirely.
Did you wait? I have a question. Did you start the game because you saw Marine playing it on stream?
No. This is like this is even before I started actually Fire Emblem Heroes that I picked up the game. No, that Marine stream is really funny though, because it kind of is the Azur Lane experience. At least I don't know if anyone plays Azur Lane and can give me a definitive argument for why I should pick it up. Fuck it, I'll play it. So, but yeah, I mean, so the Arknights and Girls Frontline are both games I'm interested in picking up, specifically because of like the story elements. I know Girls Frontline gets really good. So good, in fact, that it's actually getting a sequel as well as several spin-off games. The sequel is looking more like an Arknights type game, whereas like it's getting more spin-offs, and there's like this whole connection to another game. I think it was called like Bakery Girls, which was about aliens. I don't know.
Bakery Girls.
Well, I don't know. But the story in Girls Frontline is really complex, and I want to pick it up and finish it. So like FGO, Girls Frontline, and Arknights are games that are on my radar for that. Kind of specifically.
This is like on the same tier as the horse gacha, like Uma Misume. Is that how you pronounce it? I'm not sure.
Yeah, Uma Musume. No, yeah. I'm unironically going to download that game and probably wail in it when it comes out.
Are you really? No, I saw on like Sensor Tower that it was like top grossing in Japan like consistently, and it's like
it actually went down this month.
Did it
because
really?
You want to know why?
Oh gosh!
Because FGO released actual content.
Oh my gosh!
Isn't that it's crazy? But no, the Uma Musume looks really good. It's like a from what I understand, like there's roguelike elements to it. So basically, you pick a character, and you build it up kind of within this competition for the races itself, and then the stats are kind of reset. But if you win, you get like a small bonus, I think, permanently to your base stats. And so like obviously like gacha units, like the higher rarity gacha units have better starting base stats, but like the actual gameplay itself is a roguelike based on the units in your pool, and then there's like supporting cards as well. But like I've seen people play it, and the only reason I'm not playing it is because it's not translated. But it looks like a really, really good game.
I feel like it's like a morbid curiosity that's gonna get me to start the game, like a certain other game that we will not mention on this show.
Yeah, we won't mention it. The game that shall not be named.
Yeah.
So, moving on though, the game that I actually have been having a ton of fun with, and I really did not expect to enjoy this game so much, is Princess Connect. And
I have heard good things about it.
Kedunkel, this game is so well iterated. Like, it knows exactly what it wants to be, and it kind of just knocks every element of being that kind of game out of the park. Like, it's not I mean, you can kind of play it like as a full attention game where it's like, wow, I'm really into clan battle, so I'm gonna min max to try and get top ranking. But like, it's a fun, good looking game. The characters are interesting, and Kedunkel already knows about Christina, so he knows just how interesting the characters can be. But like,
interesting is not the word I'd use. Well, I mean, it depends on what you define.
It's fun, right? The character interactions are enjoyable. They're funny. The game makes me laugh a lot. And then like the progression is like super linear. There's not a ton of RNG. The craziest thing is that like if you skip a normal gacha pool unit, you will eventually be able to grind it without even going into the gacha, which is
that sounds interesting.
The shard system is
into it.
The shard system is the thing is that like limited units, we've kind of Global has kind of entered the beginning of like the limited unit banners, and there's going to be a lot of limited units, and they're very strong for like top end applications. But if you pick it up during not this next summer banner, but the next one after that, and you just re-roll for summer Kiaru, you'll be set basically until like New Year's. So it's a really fun game. Yeah, and like I said, it's a really good side game. You could knock out your dailies in 30 minutes and then just check in maybe one more time a day. You literally get like I have like 800 skip tickets now because they just end up throwing them at you. So it knows exactly what it wants to be and it nails it. Moving on to a game that hasn't quite nailed what it wants to, or maybe it has.
I mean, the only thing I hear about Genshin Impact is negative things, primarily centered around a lack of content.
Well, it's interesting because I around the time that so the last show that we did kind of for the pre-show was back in December. And that was when the big update dropped for Genshin, the Dragon Spine update. And I was hyping it up. I was like, it's a whole new area. It's full of everything that made Genshin because Genshin is two games in one, right? It's the exploration based, maybe more narrative game where you're like exploring an area, doing the quests evolved, and just kind of exploring to that and like opening chests, solving puzzles in the world. And then there's like the incremental progression side of it, the gacha game, where you're doing your dailies, getting new gear, rolling for units. You get 5 pulls a month or whatever because MiHoYo knows that they've got you already. So, there's fallacy. That side of it. I don't know if it's sunken cost fallacy, but it's like they know that that first game that I was talking about is so good that you're going to stick around for the second game.
The anime Breath of the Wild.
Yeah. And like, I don't know, the combat is really satisfying. Apparently it's not as complex as something like Honkai Impact, but There's still a lot of thought into it. It can be difficult at times, and rewarding when you like build a good team to tackle like a floor and abyss. But it's so I kind of stopped playing a lot of games in the beginning of January to focus really more on my thesis. And so I finished my defense last month, and I come back to Genshin, and there's no new content after 4 months. There's just nothing else in the game. They added like 2 domains. Because they've kind of adopted the model more of limited time events.
I don't know how I feel about that. I feel like that's not going to draw people in.
Well, I think part of it is like the FOMO of it, but I also think there's actually a really smart reason for MiHoYo to do that, and that's to stop bloat. Like this game, like they can only add so much content, and like the way that they've kind of nailed down the summer event added a whole new zone that's going to be temporary. Which doesn't make sense in the context of an open world game. Like you can't just add or remove a mountain, but if you've got a like an instanced zone, right, you can add or remove that from the game, from the file size, and now a game that's not just a console and PC game but also a mobile game, you can reduce that bloat and stop it from being so large.
That was one of the big issues I had with DL. I was playing on an old iPad, like a first gen iPad Pro with 32 gigs maximum, and DL was over a third of that. It was kind of ridiculous.
Yeah, and for how much of that content are you actively visiting?
Yeah, not I mean, eventually much. They kind of figured it out a little bit. I'm not sure exactly how much has affected it, because I feel like the new updates kind of balance this a little bit, because they would the game would automatically delete like old story content you haven't done, old missions you haven't done in a while, and then once you want to redo them for whatever reason, it would re-download those right before you do it. It would tell you this thing is going to be 8 megabytes download, are you okay with it? And then you hit yes, and then your auto would start or whatever. But I think like the main gacha that Zalimas and I both play is Epic 7 right now. That's for like a variety of reasons, and I think the main one is that I really like the community. Like, as I've said, a lot of the people I've met on Discord were through Faye. I guess that was the start of it, but the vast majority of the people I know on Discord are in E7. It's a little bit interesting because I have like a third of the people I know are from Faye, and those servers are pretty isolated from the ones that play E7. It's interesting, but really, really cool. Because I just see two different, I guess, sides to what you could consider like two entirely different games. But part of the reason I enjoy E7 is because I feel like the devs actually like listen. Like every update seems to like improve the game in some small amount, whether it's
definitely
a quality of life or something else.
Yeah, there's very rarely like E7 patch notes comes out, and I'm like kind of dreading reading them, which would in Fire Emblem Heroes anyways, when I was playing Faye, like I would kind of actively dread the new new mythic or legendary, because it wasn't going to be a unit I was going to swipe and pay $11,000 or $1,100 for, right? And like it was going to be a tool that I was very clearly not going to have but have to face. And I just don't, and that was like the major content that the game got.
Yeah.
So
to clarify that a little bit more, E7 does have new characters. They're on a single unit rate up banner, but the monetization for Epic 7 is not in the gacha. It is in the gear system and stamina. And they're not exactly like stingy about stamina. You get a lot of stamina, but if you want to play the game at like a top tier level, you need to basically farm literally all day, every day. Like if this may kind of surprise a couple people who aren't familiar with it, but the current E7 world champion, we call him Brother Jim or Brother Stone, or just default name, but because he uses the default E7 name, he doesn't actually have himself named,
which is the best. It's pure poetry, right?
No, like the reason he doesn't name himself, and I'm not joking, because I asked someone who spoke to him directly about it. He said that his presence in the games he plays is so big that he doesn't need to have a name. People already know who he is. It's like the most Chad answer you could possibly give.
In the interview, he said that the name that he liked was taken, but
yeah,
this makes a lot more sense, that answer that you just gave.
No, I don't know, but
I believe you. I totally believe you.
No, but like this dude, to put it into perspective, how much he wails or to farm, he has 2 full-time staff working on his account at all times just to farm, and he also hires a personal
clearly
friend.
A TOS, right? Like
no, like they don't get. You think they care when his account is like a 6-digit account? Like he says that he spent over $150,000 on Fae. Like this is the guy who drops 20K on Covenants for stress relief. He
somehow I feel like that stress probably doesn't go away.
No, so this dude is loaded basically, but in an interview, he basically said that most of his expenses in E7 is labor, which is like incredibly wild to me, and it's a different world, essentially.
Yeah, but the thing about E7 is that there's still, like, even aside from that, like the
that's
top
an
end
extreme
whales are the
example.
top end whales. Yeah, but
even for whale standards, that's an extreme example. Like literally one person.
Like some of the better accounts, it's not worth throwing out money, because the thing about E7 is, yes, again, PvP is dominated by whales, but you're probably not going to face them.
And you can still like compete as a low spender, like a monthly pack player, or like even free to play.
There are free to play players who finish in top 100 at the end of the season.
Like like Malona. I'm not sure exactly how to pronounce it that well. He doesn't spend on his account unless it's like prize money. He'll have the organizer log into his account and then buy like the packs for him. He's never spent a single cent of his own money on the account, from my understanding. And it's like whaling and E7. Obviously, the quality of your units will go up because it's a gear-based system. But the main draw is the amount of units you can have geared up at once at a good level. That's what whaling lets you do.
And there's kind of, it's funny because there's this self-correcting balance. Like, if you have like your core picks really well geared, then like even if a whale does have like, there are people who can definitely gear check you, but like even if they do, if you just draft really solid and you have those units, I mean, we're not
saying the gacha doesn't exist. There are meta units that are really hard to get and limited stuff.
And then there's also, in addition to the gacha, there's the super gacha, the ML pool,
the ML,
which
no,
is
you
terrible.
No, I'm kind of, I guess, a meme because my luck is incredibly awful with ML5s.
Yeah, but my luck is very good, so
I know
it balances
where mine
out.
Goes. I know I've gotten plenty of flack from Zalimas about my ML pulls, but
I don't understand why you just don't pull better units.
Oh yeah, I'll just pull ML haste off of a Covenant.
Be lucky.
Yeah, 0.015% chance. Okay, I'll just do it right now.
Yeah.
That's the chance for any ML5, not a specific one, by the way. But
we'll talk a lot more about E7 kind of building on this system, but it's a very good game. It does have flaws, right? I think all of these games, one of the things is that all of these games have flaws, and they're like very specifically tied to this gacha game genre that they want to be a part of. And we're definitely gonna kind of critically think about these and ask questions about whether or not these games could be better if they abandon these principles.
If you want an example like of what I dislike about E7 right now, that would be the current meta, because they overbuffed a very low rarity unit called Carrot, Researcher Carrot, and I hate fighting against her with a passion.
Just pick her.
I'm just gonna permaban her. I don't know what you're talking about.
Well, like, I mean, you could wait to. I mean, the meta isn't permaban Carrot. The meta is check to see if you have first pick,
and then
if not,
and if you do first pick Carrot, or just first pick Blue Crow, who's one of like the 2 units that does well into her, even though she can still kill them.
Yeah, I've Blue Crow is definitely. Like I only just recently got mine built, but I was like kind of sleeping on him. I knew he was good, but I thought I didn't really have the gear.
Like always been good, and you don't even have to have good gear for him.
I had no gear. I actually had no gear.
But didn't you strip him for Lilius?
No, I stripped him for. No, I ate his pieces for, like, making my Raz really good, making FCC, and making ML Haste really good. Or better. My ML Haste is not very good, but I have like 6 HP main speed set necks on my account because I just don't roll them. So
but I guess the lingering question we want to discuss in future episodes is what makes a game good, and that's a pretty subjective answer, but we can try to look at it as objectively as possible. And that's something that we'll probably take multiple episodes to do. We'll focus on one small aspect of that at a time, but that's the overall theme of what we're going to try to do in the upcoming episodes.
Definitely. And we're also going to kind of going off of that. Yeah, we want to improve. Not just we don't just want to have these discussions for no reason, but it's going to be helpful for us as people who play these games. Kind of like I've talked to Kedunkel about this a lot in the past, month or so. Kind of now that I've finished up my thesis, and I've had more time to spend on these games, I've become a lot more critical of them. And I keep asking Kedunkel, should I drop these games? Like, I don't even know if I like them, but I still do because, and it's, I think these are questions that we should be asking ourselves. And so, we want to do it in a fun way though, because these are for enjoyment ultimately. And so if we can enjoy ourselves in a healthy and responsible way, not falling into any predatory tactics, then I think we definitely should be able to do that. And we can do that, and we can do it productively, part and parcel to being part of a larger discussion.
Yeah. But I think that's a wrap for now for this episode. Is there anything else you wanted to add, Zalimas?
We totally forgot to talk about Pokemon Masters EX.
Oh no!
Because
I mean, it doesn't exist in the DT server anymore, so we'll just we'll just slide that one. I honestly
the only thing I know about that game is that it was a masterclass in reading what your hashtag is going to be before you actually change the name of your game. So
I actually forgot that I played Pokemon Masters for like a solid 2 months. Like, genuinely did not register. Yeah, I don't think that's a good sign. But the hashtag thing was actually hilarious.
It was great. Who made that game, by the way?
I have no clue. I mean, the likely answer is IS, but I honestly don't know.
I I think it was,
or not IS, the TPC, Pokemon, the Pokemon Company.
Yeah, but name two things more iconic than Nintendo and mismanagement of an IP. But
true.
anyways, okay, that was all I had to add. Sorry.
No, that was productive, considering I forgot the game existed. But anyway, thank you guys so much for listening to our new first episode. Is this the second time? I'm not sure. But we'll see you next time. Have a good one.